How much does it cost to build a website? Hey, I'm Sam Dunning, co-owner over at webchoiceuk.com and host of the Top 100 Marketing Podcast, Business Growth Show. All right, so how much should it cost to really build a website? Well, first and foremost, you need to think about why exactly do you want to build a website? Is it because your current site isn't performing very well? So perhaps you're investing money or you're investing your team's time into driving traffic to the website via advertising or marketing, and it's not converting enough visitors into inbound sales leads, or actually maybe you run an e-commerce store and it's not actually converting them into sales, so to customers. Perhaps you just feel the design's out of date. Maybe you built your site 4 or 5 years ago and it just completely doesn't stack up at all with the competition. Maybe your customers or your prospects are giving you feedback that it's not showing them what they want to see. It's not building trust with them. Perhaps it's just really outdated and just doesn't do the job well at all. Maybe it's your first ever website. So you need a website because you've started a new business or you've moved to a new company and you need to get a professional online presence. Or perhaps it's just a very basic point and click site to showcase what you do. Or does it need to be a really useful resource to help your prospects out with useful content? So think about those reasons first and foremost. Before you redesign a website or build a fresh website for the sake of it, really understand why you're doing it so you can set aside your goals and what you want to do in terms of revenue targets so you can have clear landmarks, milestones of what you want to get out of this. If you've got a web developer already, make sure they're crystal clear on why they're building the website and what the end result needs to be, especially if you're going to be spending money on marketing. So let's look at 3 different types of websites, 3 different scenarios that there could be. So number 1 is going to be the online brochure site. What does that mean? Well, it means it's not going to be a website that's anything special. It's literally purely there to tell people you've got a site. So it's literally just going to maybe showcase the services you have and maybe have a contact page. And that's about it. You're not going to be marketing it. It doesn't need to generate any business, so it doesn't need to generate calls or leads, or doesn't need to make sales. So because it's so basic, if people come to me with this objective, I usually challenge it and say, well, you might as well just use a do-it-yourself builder because you're not going to be marketing it. No one really cares what it looks like. Doesn't need to have a high-end design, doesn't need to build trust or any of those good things, doesn't need to generate business. So you might as well just go to Squarespace or Wix and build a site like that, what you can do for a few dollars a month. So that's stage 1. Number 2 is a templated based site. So typically this is when businesses need a kind of more shorter term solution that actually needs a professional look and feel. It needs to clearly showcase what the business does, how they help people, or if it's an e-commerce store, it needs to kind of give a clear idea of the products, needs to build a sense of professionalism and look decent across mobile, across desktop, across PC. So have a mobile friendly or responsive design. The company may want to market it a little bit. So they might perhaps run a little bit of ads, do a little bit of social media marketing, maybe do a little bit of SEO. And like I say, it tends to be a shorter term solution. This approach tends to be, for example, one way you might do it is find a WordPress theme and then rebrand it to the company's colors. So WordPress offer a bunch of themes if you're looking for more of an information and lead generation site, or likewise tools like Shopify offer themes and template options whereby you can find a template and then you can change the logos, change the branding, change the color schemes, change the copy on the site to suit the company's needs. When you're using themes on tools like WordPress and others, the downfalls tend to be that the design's a lot more generic, so it's more off the shelf, so it's not going to be very unique. And over time, those sites can sometimes slow down with bulky code, especially if you're using themes. But if you need a short-term solution and you don't want to break the bank with it, and you might do a little bit of marketing to it, then a template site is often going to do the job just fine. Or thirdly and finally, a custom site. So if you really want something that looks unique, that looks fresh, that's fully tailored to your business, so you want a real bespoke design for all the main pages of your site, then this one's going to be the one for you. Why? Well, it means that the company that builds it can really craft it for your ideal customers so they can spend time doing research, which we'll talk about in a sec, and really make sure it's tailored to your ideal customers in terms of what they want to see on the site and the main pages or products if you're e-commerce. It needs to really build trust. So it's going to leverage social proof. So things like having case studies, reviews, testimonials, maybe videos, maybe podcasts, accreditation. So as you scroll through the site, you're seeing all these social proof elements, and it's building trust and building confidence. It needs to actually do an effective job, because most likely if you're going for a custom site, you're going to be marketing it pretty well. So maybe you're driving ads to it, Google AdWords or Facebook ads. Maybe you're doing SEO to get it ranked on Google. Maybe you're sending an email list to it. Maybe you're marketing off LinkedIn and social media. So it's got all this traffic coming to it. So most importantly, it needs to take people from just browsing to converted. So it needs to convert them into sales opportunities. So they need to give you a call or fill out a lead inquiry form or get on live chat with you if it's a B2B lead gen site, or if it's e-commerce, it needs to take them from just buying to just browsing rather to buying paid customers. And typically it's going to be a long-term solution. So this is going to be the most expensive option, and it's going to take a little while to craft all the designs, develop the site, and get it all built up. So it's usually a long-term solution that's going to serve your business well, typically to the above goals that we've just chatted through. And just to go a bit deeper on this custom design process, usually it's got a few elements to it. So research, understanding your competitors, perhaps talking to your customers about what's important to them when looking at a vendor like yours. So you know the main elements, the main pages, the main resources that need to be on your site, and really taking the time to understand things like the language your customers use, and making sure the content is kind of problem-centric, not just talking about your own company, but really nailing down kind of how your business helps people, and making sure that it's really a useful resource to people in terms of the way it's structured. And then once you've researched and you know the main goals for the site, why you're doing it, exactly what you want to get out of it, what customers want to see, and the content and such that you're going to be utilizing in the site, then doing prototyping. So user journeys, user flows, what does that mean? Well, mapping out all the main pages that are going to be on the site, whether that's homepage, about us, all the service pages, resource pages, contact pages, blogs, if you've got product pages, and mapping those all out on a kind of user flow section, and then wireframing it. Wireframing is important for larger scale sites, not always needed on simple brochure, kind of 5 to 10 page sites, but when you get bigger, more detailed sites that really need to take people on a journey from different sections. So wireframe is basically a bare bones frame of the site without any design elements. But if we're talking about a homepage, for example, we'll have home screen. This is where the navigation goes. This is the top banner hero area. These are going to be the call to actions. So maybe learn more, or inquire now, or call us today, or view products. Here's where the social proof, the testimonials, the case studies go. This is where the social links are. This is the footer. So it maps out all the main elements before you do any design with the prototype and the wireframes. Then design, that's where you bring the wireframe to life and mark out all the custom designs for the main pages. So homepage, about us, service pages, all the pages that make up the site, and doing those custom designs. Front-end development, this is usually using something called HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and basically bringing how the user interacts with your site and coding that all up. And then back-end development. So this is usually done on a CMS, a content management system. That could be WordPress. That could be a bespoke coded site. That could be if you're e-commerce, Shopify or Magento or OpenCart or WooCommerce. There's so many back-end CMS, content management system platforms around. And then once you've built the front end, how users interact, once you build your back end, which is your admin dashboard, and any integrations that are linked up, then you need to test it on mobile devices, PCs, tablets, test that the user journeys work well, test all the inquiry forms, the phones, if you're e-commerce, test the payment processes, etc. Then you can look to launch and start the marketing side of things. So getting back to the point, how much should you flip and spend on this thing? So if you're literally talking a simple site that you're not going to market, you don't really care about, you just want something there with info on and your contact details, Squarespace or Wix are just 20 to 30 bucks a month. Now, getting into the template site, it completely depends if you're e-commerce, if you want an e-commerce site. I mean, you can go direct to some platforms and literally buy themes and reskin them yourself. Obviously, that's going to take time. It needs experience. But for example, at WebChoice, our template sites are typically anywhere from 1.5K plus for simple information-based sites that maybe need a little bit of lead gen upwards. And if we're talking ecom, maybe 3K plus. It does vary from company to company. If you're talking more of a custom design and build, for lead gen sites, typically ours are around 3.5K upwards. If we're talking kind of 5 to 10 page information sites that need to build trust, look real kind of fresh and custom to the brand, are well researched, and are really there to serve a purpose. And custom ecom sites anywhere from 5 to 6 grand plus. When you get a lot bigger than just these simple sites, typically done at a day rate. So usually takes into consideration the amount of days that the steps we've just gone through take. So research, prototyping, design, development, testing. Usually agencies will price up based on the amount of days they need to put the solution together, and then give you a rate based on that. So there you have it. That is the summary of how much a website should cost. Hopefully that's given you some useful pointers in terms of what you should think about before you spend your hard-earned cash, and making sure that the website really serves a purpose and helps your business grow. If you enjoyed the show, please do hit subscribe. Why not leave us a 5-star review if you're listening in? And with that, I'll catch you on the next episode.